Ladies and gentlemen, big news just dropped. And if you're an American struggling with rising costs, feeling the pressure in your wallet, or maybe just simply wondering when some real relief will finally hit, well, you're going to want to listen closely because it is happening, guys. President Donald Trump just made a huge confirmation that is sending shockwaves throughout the entire economy, and it's directly tied to millions of hardworking Americans who have been waiting for a break. And this is not some random rumor. This isn't speculation. President Trump himself has laid it out. And if what he's signaling plays out the way experts inside are anticipating, it could completely reshape how much you're paying for everything from groceries to electronics in just a few months. So today, we're going to walk through exactly what President Trump just confirmed, what this means for tariffs, trade, and of course, your daily expenses, and why this could be the beginning of a much bigger shift that could change the financial landscape for American families, businesses, and consumers everywhere. Guys, do you have questions about the DOGE dividend stimulus checks? We're going to talk about that too. We're also talking about the relief on the horizon, not 10 years from now, but possibly as soon as this summer. Guys, this is amazing. So now, before we dive any deeper, if you're able to hear me, drop a quick yes in the comments down below. And also, it's Sunday, April the 27th. Let me know where you guys are watching from, just the state. You don't have to list your city unless you want to. But now, before we dive any deeper, you need to understand this. This announcement didn't come out of nowhere. It's the results of months, possibly years of battles over tariffs, trade wars with China, and intense backroom negotiations. So today, we're actually finally seeing some real momentum for the first time, guys. President Trump confirmed that the crushing tariffs that have been driving up prices, especially on everyday essentials, are being reevaluated. Oh, and real quick, guys, I've been hearing, and I don't know if this is true, so I just want to ask if you guys have heard the same. I was hearing that we're going to be seeing empty shelves in Walmart within the next few days. Has anyone heard anything about that? If you have, please share the details that you're aware of in the comments down below. And also just your own personal, we had a debate last night about Target versus Walmart. Whose prices do you think is cheaper? If you think it's Target, put Target. If you think it's Walmart, put Walmart. But anyway, but yeah, so Trump did actually confirm that the crushing tariffs that have been driving these prices up, especially on everyday essentials, they're being reevaluated. And now, of course, they're not going to be eliminated, but they're going to be significantly reduced. And for millions of Americans, this could mean a huge, immediate difference in the cost of living. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. We are also going to be breaking down what's happening behind the scenes with China, what the Treasury officials and the top economic advisors are now openly saying about this timeline. Oh, yeah, we're going to go in today. Happy Sunday, you guys. Oh, also, why all signs are now pointing to an economic turnaround that nobody thought was even possible just a few months ago. And it doesn't stop there, because we're also going to be looking at what Elon Musk is doing and why his sudden move to step down or step back from government advisory roles could actually signal that big changes are closer than anyone expected. So guys, if you care about saving money, and I think, like, who doesn't, right? If you care about saving money, rebuilding economic strength, and seeing leadership that actually fights for the American worker, this video is a video you need to watch. So definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't click away, guys, because in the next few moments, I'm going to be showing you exactly what's happening. And we're going to show you why it matters for you, for your family, for our future. Let's go ahead and jump into this.
$5 billion a day. And now we have it down to a very low number because we're getting 25% from the automobile industry, from autos. We're getting 25% for steel, 25% for aluminum, and we're getting the baseline of 10%. And think of it, we're losing almost $2 trillion on trade. And those days are gone. We're not going to do that again. We're not going to let that happen. We're being ripped off by almost, I don't say every, but very close to every country, everywhere in the world, just being ripped off left and right. You had no leadership. You had people that didn't know what they were doing. And we're going to turn the country around. You know, we have a very nice phrase, make America great again. That's what we're going to do. And
breaking news just dropped. And if you buy anything made in China, or maybe you felt the pain of rising prices in your daily life, oh, you're going to want to hear this. So President Trump, he just dropped a major promise that could bring massive relief to millions of hardworking Americans. And no, this is not about the election. This is about what is about to hit your wallet in the next few months, and why it could completely flip the whole economic game that we've been struggling with. Now, we're talking about bold moves against China's stranglehold on rare earth minerals, a potential end to the brutal tariff war that's essentially crushed consumers and businesses alike, and even hints that Elon Musk himself may be stepping aside in order to kind of make way for this new wave of efficiency and affordability. Now, guys, we're not going to get ripped off anymore, right? But check this out. The question is, will this actually happen? I mean, because talks are underway. What is Trump's real plan? We're going to break this down. And what is actually coming this summer that could send prices plummeting, or maybe even spark an entirely new economic fight? Well, stick with me, guys, because in today's video, I'm going to unpack all of this. And we're even going to cover exactly what President Trump just said, what this means for you, and how Elon Musk and Tesla ties, how they basically tie into all of this, and also like why this could be the beginning of something really huge, something really, really big. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. Also, if you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe. I totally appreciate you guys. But let's go ahead and start with the heart of the story. President Trump's promise to ease tariffs on China. And I want you to understand just how big this really is. So right now, Americans are feeling the pinch. We're feeling the pinch at the store, online, at the gas station, because of years and years of rising prices. And one of the main drivers of those price hikes, well, tariffs on imported goods, especially from China. Now, Trump just revealed that the massive 145% tariff number being floated is a negotiation tactic. It's a shot across the bow. It's not a final number. Instead, he's saying we could see tariffs fall to around 20% or even lower than that.
145% is very high, and it won't be that high. It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero. It used to be zero. We were just destroyed. China was taking us for a ride, and just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're going to be very good to China, and I think they're going to be happy, and I think we're going to live together very happily and ideally work together. So I think it's going to work out very well, and I think we'll make a deal with China.
Including with...
If we don't make a deal, we'll set it. We'll just set the number, and, you know, I think they'll want to be a part of the United States.
Now, that's less than half of what many people feared. And this is not about politics, guys. This is about your daily life, your laptop, your air fryer, your wallet, your kids' sneakers. Lower tariffs means lower prices for you. And it also means small businesses across the country who've been crushed by material costs finally getting some breathing room. So Trump's strategy: hit hard first. Say 145% tariffs. Scare the crap out of the enemy into coming to the table. Then kind of walk it back to a number that everybody can live with. And this is exactly what we're watching unfold right now. Guys, looks like we're actually seeing art of the deal play out in real time. But here's the twist. The real question is, how close are we to that deal?
Steve, the White House was asked yesterday whether or not the president's engaged in a one-on-one talk with President Xi of China, and the White House not willing to go on the record with that, an indication that these conversations are still not happening at the most senior levels. Either way, all three major U.S. stock indexes are set to open sharply higher today, given some of the news the president and Treasury Secretary made within the last 24 hours, suggesting that the trade war won't last forever. As you all three know, there's been a major sell-off on Wall Street ever since the trade war began.
Because nothing's finalized until it's signed, right? The White House was asked point blank, has President Trump spoken directly with President Xi of China? And their response, no comment. Well, that might seem like a big, huge, fat red flag, but it's actually a strategic silence. Insiders are actually saying back channel talks are actually happening. Negotiations have quietly begun behind closed doors. And what we're hearing is that both sides want to land a deal by this summer. Why the delay? Well, it's because every single word in the trade agreement, it matters. The language must be airtight. One wrong clause, one loophole, and, well, the entire thing could collapse. Now, let's talk numbers for a second. The average senior overpays by hundreds of dollars every single year on Medicare because they picked the wrong plan or they were sold one that didn't actually fit their needs. But a company called Chapter is finally fixing that. They compare every single plan in your area, not just the ones that they get paid to show you, but they also help you find the ones that save you the most, fits your doctors, and unlocks any hidden benefits. Take Julie from Kansas. She switched with their help and saved $400 a year. Jamie in Texas, she reclaimed $600 back into her Social Security check. Now, Chapter's advisors, they treat you like family, and it's completely free. No commissions, no upselling, just clarity. So if you or someone you love is on Medicare or about to be, don't wing it. Call Chapter. I'll leave a link in the description down below, or you can even call them on the phone. You can easily go to askchapter.com/Ron. Now, what's really important is this: the fact that there are no denials and Trump himself is publicly signaling confidence. This tells us that something major is brewing. And when it hits, it won't be just about policy. It's going to be about your paycheck. It's going to be about your business, your cost of living. Millions of Americans are watching this unfold in real time, and they're wondering, will this finally help? And I think that the answer looks more and more like a resounding yes. So what does all of this really mean for the United States economy right now? Well, I'm going to tell you this much. It's not just talk. Markets are already moving.
Joining us, Douglas Ernest. He's the owner of the Corvette Warehouse in Dallas, Texas. It is the largest Corvette dealership in the Southwest. I believe we can see some of them in the background. Ernest, you had your best sales week in 2 years. Does that have anything to do with tariffs?
From the perspective of Corvette Warehouse, Stuart, we absolutely believe and are convinced that that's what happened with this slow and calculated tariff rollout program that was smart and layered by the Trump administration. It gave the American business owner, the American workers, a chance to reset. The preliminary statements came out in January, and we immediately saw an uptick in our business. And we had customers that have not been with us for 3-4 years start to return to our product and visit our dealership. And as the phase policy announcements came out, immediately we had an uptick in business. And, contrary, I just want to let the audience know that the week that the stock market was making a temporary correction, we had the best week we had in actually 3 years.
Excellent. Now, how much of a Corvette is really made in America? Not assembled here, but made in America?
98% of all products on that Corvette are produced in America.
And that's something you can't fake. Within hours of President Trump's remarks and new signals from the Treasury Secretary, all three major stock market indexes surged. Why? Well, it's because investors are betting that this trade war, the one that's been dragging down growth, hammering supply chains, and fueling inflation, it's finally headed toward a resolution. The Treasury Secretary made it very, very clear. I mean, this is not going to go on forever, right? I mean, we've seen this in the past, and they're saying this today. They said it yesterday as well.
$5 billion a day, and now we have it down to a very low number because we're getting 25% from the automobile industry, from autos. We're getting 25% for steel, 25% for aluminum, and we're getting the baseline of 10%. And think of it, we're losing almost $2 trillion on trade. And those days are gone. We're not going to do that again. We're not going to let that happen. We're being ripped off by almost, I don't say every, but very close to every country, everywhere in the world, just being ripped off left and right. You had no leadership. You had people that didn't know what they were doing. And we're going to turn the country around. We have a very nice phrase, make America great again. That's what we're going to do. And
that's not speculation. This is a clear message to businesses. It's a clear message to global markets and to you. And here's what's really wild, guys. This isn't the first time that tariffs have shaken Wall Street, right? When the U.S. China tariff fight first broke out, we saw massive sell-offs. We saw billions, actually not even billions, we saw trillions of dollars in value lost, fear across every industry. But now the tone is shifting. There's hope, and not just on Wall Street, but on Main Street, where the average American is desperate for lower costs, better wages, and economic stability. Lower tariffs equals cheaper imports. Cheaper imports, lower prices at the register. It's a direct path from policy to pocketbook, if you ask me. Now, we need to zoom out just for a second, because President Trump isn't just talking numbers. He's actually laying out this whole new economic vision here. And so whether you love him or you hate him, he's striking a nerve with millions of Americans who are fed up. I mean, President Trump, he flat out said under previous leadership, the U.S. was losing nearly $2 trillion in trade. Trillions. $2 trillion in trade, guys. That's not just a deficit. That is economic sabotage, in his words. He says we were being ripped off by nearly every country with terrible deals, weak leadership, and no plan to fight back. And he's promising boldly that those days are over. His message? America isn't the world's doormat anymore. Wow. This is the cornerstone of his Make America Great Again mission. Not just slogans, but actions, tariffs, restructured deals, standing up to China, reasserting economic power. That's pretty much the platform. Now, are there risks? Absolutely. There's always risks. Every bold move comes with some backlash. But Trump's strategy is pretty clear. Put America first. Make other nations take us seriously again. And millions of Americans feel like for the first time in decades, that might actually be happening. And so now let's talk about a name that keeps popping up in places that people wouldn't even expect. Elon Musk. Yes, Tesla's CEO, SpaceX visionary, and now President Trump's unofficial economic enforcer. For those who haven't followed it, Elon Musk, he's been working with the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE for short, playing a very crucial behind-the-scenes role in reshaping how the country spends, saves, and negotiates. But now, Elon Musk, he just made a surprise announcement. Starting in May, he's stepping back from DOGE, only showing up 1, maybe 2 days a week.
Starting probably in next month, May, my time allocation to DOGE will drop significantly. I'll have to continue doing it for, I think, probably the remainder of the president's term, just to make sure that the waste and fraud that we stop does not come roaring back. But starting next month, I'll be allocating far more of my time to Tesla. And now that the major work of establishing the Department of Government Efficiency is done.
Why? Why is he stepping down? Is Trump asking him to leave? Well, he says he needs to focus more on Tesla. But read between the lines, and I think you'll see exactly why this matters. So Musk is betting that the economic pressure is about to ease, that tariffs on essential components, particularly those rare earth minerals that he needs for Tesla's batteries, they're about to finally begin to drop. So he said changes are coming in the next month or two. And when Elon Musk says that, it's not hype. It's usually backed by some deep inside knowledge and real world logistics. Now, I'm not talking about insider knowledge like Nancy Pelosi or anything like that. But if Elon Musk's betting on a smoother ride ahead for U.S. manufacturing, that's a green light to me. That's a signal. Not just for Tesla, but for the entire economy. So let's go even deeper than this, though, guys, because what we're dealing with isn't just trade and tariffs. It's resources. It's raw power, literally. Right now, the United States produces only about like 5% of the world's rare earth minerals. These are the materials that power your smartphone, your electric car, your electric vehicle, your military defense systems. And who controls 85% of the global supply chain? China. And so this means we've been at their mercy, paying more and more, waiting longer and longer, risking national security just to get the components that we need to keep our economy running. This is not a good thing, and Trump's not having it. So every time we slap tariffs on China, we're not just taxing consumer goods, we're raising the cost of everything that's tied to innovation. And that's why Tesla and dozens of other companies, they're sounding the alarm. If Trump follows through and he reduces these tariffs, it doesn't just mean lower prices. It gives America a strategic advantage. It actually helps us break dependency to regain leverage and reinvest in our own production capabilities. In short, it's not just about buying cheaper phones. It's about protecting our future. Our tech dominance, our military readiness, our ability to compete. So now let's clear the air, guys. This is not a magic wand moment. Trump's not promising that prices are going to drop overnight or that global supply chains are just going to fix themselves with a stroke of a pen. That's not how this works. But here's what does matter. For the first time in a very long time, the direction of policy is finally easing instead of escalating. And in this economy, this is everything. Americans are desperate for a sign that the worst is behind us, right? That the chaos of the last few years, lockdowns, inflation, global instability, is finally giving way to measurable progress. And I think that's what we're starting to see here. Not through spin, through action, through direct moves on tariffs, through new negotiations with global powers, through Elon Musk stepping back because the system that he helped restructure is finally stabilizing. So it's kind of like watching a storm pass. You know, the skies are still a little cloudy, but there's some light breaking through here. So this shift in tone here from confrontation to correction isn't just political theater. This is a message to every American that we're headed in the right direction. That's the way I'm taking it. So what happens next? When will we actually see the impact in our daily lives? Well, according to multiple sources inside of President Trump's team, Wall Street analysts, and even Elon Musk himself, this summer is the key turning point. That's when the current phase of negotiations is expected to wrap up. And so that's when policy changes actually start hitting important pricing. That's when American businesses, especially in manufacturing and tech, will feel a release of pressure. Now, remember, guys, formal negotiations haven't fully launched yet. So right now we're in the positioning phase. Quiet talks, soft power, strategic signaling. That's the real game, guys. But don't confuse quiet with inaction. This is how the biggest deals are made. Trump is he's a very good negotiator. You have to understand, there's a lot of things he can't say publicly because China leadership will hear what he's saying, and it will negatively impact his ability to negotiate on behalf of the United States, if that makes sense. So the deals are quietly being made. This is how big deals are made. This is not with fireworks. This is with patience, power, and precision. And if that deal lands by the summer, like a lot of insiders are predicting, well, we could be looking at cheaper consumer goods, stronger supply chains, and a market rally that lifts millions of Americans who have been stuck in the mud for way too long. It's not just about policy, guys. It's about peace of mind. It's about knowing that maybe, just maybe, the system is starting to work in our favor again. But of course, before we wrap up, there's one last thing that I did want to say, because of all of this, because of the policies, the promises, the economic shifts, they mean nothing without you, right? All right, so let's bring this thing full circle. We've already covered a lot in this video, right? Trump's promise to ease tariffs, the momentum behind the U.S.-China negotiations, how Elon Musk is adjusting his role and going back to Tesla, and basically what all this means for everyday Americans like me and you, right? But here's the bottom line. Whether you're watching this as a small business owner, maybe you're just trying to stay afloat, maybe you're a single parent, budgeting every cent, or someone just trying to figure it out, right? Trying to figure out if they can afford that next big purchase. Maybe you're trying to buy a car. Maybe you're trying to buy a house. You're not alone in this. And for the first time in a long time, we're actually starting to see signs that things are actually shifting in your favor. Now, that doesn't mean every headline is going to be good news. That's not the way that works, right? But this also doesn't mean that prices are going to crash tomorrow. But what it does mean is this. The people in power are finally feeling pressure to deliver results, and some of them, like Trump and Elon Musk, they're taking steps that could bring some real tangible relief in the coming months ahead. So I'm pretty excited about that. So you need to know that your voice, your choices, and your attention matters. And so this is why I do these updates, because you deserve to know what's happening behind the scenes and what it could mean for your paycheck, for your future, and for your family. And I promise I'll be here for you guys every step of the way. You know, whether that's whether things start to speed up or they slow down or whatever, breaking news, whatever the case is, I'm going to be here for you guys. So if you haven't already, definitely hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you're 65, near 65, or maybe your parents are 65 or turning 65, give our friends over at Chapter a call. They are literally in the habit of saving people money, and it's totally free for any kind of Medicare help, assistance, guidance. You could literally just call them up for advice. And if you do, just tell them Ron says hello. Seriously. So if you found this video helpful, don't just scroll away. Hit the like button. Share this video with someone who needs hope and some clarity right now. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on, because the moment these deals become reality, you better believe I'm going to jump on YouTube super quick and break it all down for you guys. So Trump just promised relief for millions. And based on everything that we've seen so far, I think the change is probably already underway. So anyway, stay sharp, guys. Stay informed, because summer's coming fast. And with it, could possibly be one of the biggest economic shifts and wealth transfer that we've seen in years. We'll see you guys on the next one.